I just want to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for coming in because I really love doing this work with each of you individually, but also really love for us to connect as a group. And I organize these things a few times a year. And I think I attempt to do about three free workshops a year at least. And so I just love this opportunity to connect many of you with each other and just kind of do this. There's an energy that happens when we're all in the same room. I love it when we can be in an actual physical room. But there's something magical, that we tap into when we are a group, when we are connected in this kind of magical container that we created today. So thank you for saying yes to this invitation. And so I just want to share with you my intention for this workshop is really, I just wanted to create a space for you all to really think and connect. And when I say think, and then immediately I think connect to the heart, because today what we'll talk about is your core values. Core is in Latin, means heart. And so whenever we think about our core values and we think about our vision, we want to connect it not with just something that we think about, but something that really matters, something that is really meaningful. And it's not easy. It's easy in a way to connect with our heart when we put our hand on our heart and we're like, you know what, this really truly matters to me. But when we meet and when we think about our work and there's so many facets to in our life that we all are managing, it's sometimes we forget, we get distracted. And so this is in a way an opportunity to connect to your heart and those core values, and we'll have a bunch of exercises today to help you do that, because it's not easy, because we don't do it on a daily basis, and it's just not something that comes natural to us. And so the intention today is really to help you connect to your heart, connect to your highest vision, so that you can feel inspired and empowered and intentional in your work and in your life, really. Whenever I coach, and I think I coach almost everyone here. We want to really connect with the entire person. We coach the whole person. We think about the whole person when we think about the vision, not just the work or not just ourselves as wearing this hat as a leader, which we all do in some fashion. And so, the other reason for and the intention that I have with this workshop is, to kind of do this deep self-reflection to really get that clarity. Because what happens is, and I'm noticing this, and it probably sounds true to you because I know I hear it from so many people in coaching sessions, we all kind of get distracted from the long-term aspirations that we have. And when we do connect and we ask ourselves, like, what is this thing that I really care and want to create? There's the fear of failure coming in. It can be quite paralyzing. And when we think about, like, I want to do this thing, but I'm just so afraid this just will never work, right? There's also, I'm hearing the sense of overwhelm, right? There's so many possibilities, so many things that we want to create. And then there is the sort of this natural alignment. So many of us, and we're all women here, we tend to be people pleasers. I know that's one of my top 3 saboteurs. And so we just naturally are tuning into other people's expectations. And so it really takes a lot of intention and self-awareness. It really, I would say, so much of the work, as you guys know, in our coaching sessions, it is about self-awareness, like really understanding ourselves. And that is not an easy thing to do. And so, it takes self-awareness. We want to kind of set this intentional space to kind of set our goals and vision. And then there is this willingness to work with our fears that will absolutely inevitably be our trusty companion, right? So it's not about going against our fears. This is, and for so many of you who work with me or have attended previous workshops, this is about acknowledging our fear, validating our fear, and it is about just working with it, creating the space for it. So in a way, it's almost this spaciousness, this sense of it's allowed, because fear is something to be expected. Insecurity, self-doubt is something to expect. So we want to just prepare for it. And I know we talk about this in coaching sessions, but the first step really is that self-awareness. Like, what is it that matters to me? So we'll talk today about your vision. I'll guide you. I have a bunch of awesome prompts. I'm doing this work actually live here in Santa Barbara. I have a 6-week workshop that I'm teaching at Palma. I know, Suzanne, you know about it, but most of you are not local. And I'm taking more mindfulness practice and approach there, which some of that will be, I will always use mindfulness in coaching, and I encourage you, of course, to do the same. So it's been just so much fun doing that work in person, and I'm like, I want to do this with everybody else. Let's just do it online. So here we are. So without further ado, I will share my screen and get started. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. And I know you are, because you're making time of your day on Friday. Oh, okay. Share screen. Here we go. Okay, awesome. Okay, perfect. So here we are, and this is about creating your highest vision, right? So there's an element of stretching here, and I'll always encourage us to stretch. What else are we here to do if not stretch and grow, right? And I'm saying that as I also know that I really am resisting uh, my own vision, my own ideas, because resistance is just a manifestation of our fear and wants to keep us safe. So today we will dive right in into creating this ambitious. We want to be ambitious. We are not holding back today. So we're going to create an ambitious, authentic vision. And again, authenticity is so important because, and there's so much work in being authentic. Let's face it, it's not natural, unfortunately, because we are wanting to be aware of external pressures and what other people want us to be, what other people want us to do, and get to decide if we are okay with that. So we want to be intentional and authentic. And so we'll talk about our core values in a second. The second thing, so we'll spend most of the time on this first item because it's just so, I think it's so tricky to get into that highest vision. The second thing will be dialing down into what does that mean? So we're going to create SMART goals that are aligned with that vision. So we're creating that support. That's the foundation, right? And then we will create a powerful mantra. Now, this is a new thing I've been doing myself, and I've noticed how important it is in kind of helping me stay connected with my vision. So it's kind of, we're trying to do everything we can to stay connected, because what we can expect is that we are going to be disconnected. We're just going to go with whatever comes, whatever other people's priorities, and maybe our comfort zone. There's a lot that goes in there and kind of keeping us static. So let's start with creating your highest vision. All right, so I am starting with this quote because I just love to be inspired, and I encourage you to have a quote somewhere. Have a mantra, have a quote, anything you can get to be to stay inspired. So this is I love anything from, Rumi or Hafiz. They go straight to the core. So I chose this one today. So don't be satisfied with stories, how other things have gone for other people. Unfold your own myth. We are creating a legacy. We are. We are. And it's something that we want to be to remind ourselves. So I talked to many of you in coaching sessions about creating a habit of checking in with yourself. And we want to have this habit of as an anchor, and to remind ourselves that when we talk about creating a vision, we want to be intentional this year. We are, you guys, we are creating our own story. We are unfolding our own path, our own myth, right? So there's so much courage that I personally get from reading this quote. So I wanted to share with you. And now, actually, before we get into our core values, I want to check in with you. So I'm gonna stop sharing if I want to check if there's anyone else. Okay, we are good. So I want to check in with you and see what is one thing as you think about kind of, you know, these are big. When we talk about our highest vision and we talk about create your own myth, and we talk about, really tapping into the heart, I'm curious, what is this energy that you feel when you are kind of thinking about this, unfolding your own myth about this deepest vision that this year is a chapter of? Long question here. They came to me, but I'm really curious if you could share what is that energy that you feel. And I actually would love to encourage you to like come on screen if anyone feels brave enough or chatty enough or excited enough to kind of show in front of everyone. I'm just curious.
Excitement and nervous.
Yeah, honestly, that's how I define Lori. Readiness, excitement. Literally, those are the words I use. I love it. So, what is the excitement for you?
Just the idea of being able to accomplish my goals.
Mhm. And the nervousness?
The all the setup that it takes to get there.
Mm.
And what if I fail?
And the setup, what is the setup?
Well, just the things that need to happen in
Yeah,
order to reach my goal.
right, right. And what if it doesn't happen? Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So that's exactly what we want to expect. And honestly, I love that you started with excited because, you know, that's the connection. That's the energy. Like I'm totally excited about this. We want to be excited. And thank you so much for sharing, Lori. And then the nervousness. So those two, come together. And I have a quote actually later on, which is around, the almost like the higher the goal, the higher the fear. So it's like there's a proportion there, right? So almost expect kind of like, if you will, like the shadow of the goal is the fear. The partner, I like to think, a partner that we acknowledge in our quest for making this year awesome is going to be fear. And if we're not feeling fear, I think we all know what that means. Yeah, we're staying in our comfort zone. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So, so I'm going to share because the next thing, and I would say grab your notebooks or your Google Doc or anything that you want to write on. If you have your journal, bring that. Um, because we're gonna start working. This is where we're gonna start jotting down things, and I'm gonna guide you to build some. These are the building blocks. So we're gonna start with your core values. So grab that notebook and here are the values. Now I have a whole training on values. So this is kind of, sort of a shortcut because we're gonna try to fill in a lot of things. And I also have a worksheet that I can share with you all if you do want to go deeper into your values. So you can reach out to me afterwards. But this is a really good place to start because we're starting again with the heart. So, and what's interesting about values is that they change. I remember, and of course, I didn't really have the language of values back when I was in my early 20s, but back then for me, it was all about resilience. It was all about survival. And as time passed, I wanted to be a little more adventurous. And then as I became a mom and later as an entrepreneur, it was increasingly more balancing out both a sense of ambition and then increasingly a sense of authenticity, because that's what we do as we evolve. We become more and more honest with ourselves, and as we get to learn who we are and what matters to us. So here is the exercise. So you have here a little over 30 values that I picked. And I found that these are the most common that people have. Okay, one more person. Hi, Laura. So take a look at these values. And the goal here is to identify three. And, you can pick more. I found that picking three is an easier exercise, especially for the purposes and the time that we have today. And also, it's something that I found to be easier to remember. So as you look at these, I would say just see which ones absolutely grab you, because these are the values that you will use. These are the building blocks to create your vision, right? And think about this as what truly matters in your heart, both personally and professionally. And I really want to emphasize that, because so much in my work, I support people with their careers and businesses, etc. But there's no just we're not one thing. We're so many things. And so as you think about professionally, as well as relationships, as well as your own health, so I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but let's start with, as you think about your core values, again, big three, don't overthink it. Whatever feels right to you at this moment. And remember, they do change over time. So I would love for you to just take 30 seconds. I'll be quiet and really see, maybe with a hand of your heart on your heart, if these were the three maybe building blocks as you create your vision. And there's value in choosing just three that speak to you the most. What are they? And then when you're ready, drop them in chat if you want to share them. And there's a lot of value in sharing them too. And by the way, if you can keep your camera on, I encourage you to do so we can see your beautiful face, so we can stay connected. That's beautiful. Authenticity, compassion, connection, growth, ambition, fun. I love it. I love it. Oh, yay, Miranda. Yay, they do. That's so cool. Great. So you created those two buckets for yourself. Excellent. Love, connection, security, making a difference. I love it. And there might be even a third bucket. Who knows? Maybe there's a bucket for, health, self-care, spirituality. Who knows? Okay, perfect. I see a lot of authenticity, connection, compassion. That's beautiful. Yay. Thank you for sharing. So take a look at everyone else's. This is sort of our humanity, shared humanity. Um, these are important to us. And so by choosing three, this is about beginning to hone in this year, right? Like, what are the things that you want to remember for this year? Okay. So the next building block is this one. Now, many of you who have been in the Iola training, you have seen this, and maybe some of you are aware of the genius zone concept. Actually, raise your hand, or I'm curious, raise your hand if you have not heard of this concept. Okay, so just a few of you who have not heard. Well, let me be the first one to introduce you to this awesome concept, which I love so much and I use so much in coaching. And it's something that I've used and leaned on a lot for my own personal work, especially when I did that big switch from corporate into being a consultant business owner. So the idea is, and this comes from a book called The Big Leap. If you're interested, check it out. A psychologist named Gay Hendricks introduced this concept, and what I really love is he came up with this concept of the upper limit problem. And the idea is, and I found this a lot in people I coach and in myself especially, is that we tend to really as we grow in our career, we start with things that we are incompetent, we make our way, and then we get really excellent. So that is the point where so many people get stuck, and you can kind of wonder, like, how can you be stuck when you're excellent? Well, what happens is we are rewarded to stay in that place, right? And rewarded meaning, money, meaning promotions, meaning, external recognition, a sense of achievement by maybe society's eyes. And so what he defined, and I really love, because he talked about sort of functioning in different ways. right? So it's almost like how can be the most highly functioning. And so the first zone is about stuff that you kind of do. I think it's pretty easy to kind of understand what that is. It's just like you don't really understand it and you're not very skilled at that. And, we have these things in our work. And really the concept is that we want to spend as much time as possible in our zone of genius. And so for me, doing my taxes, finally, I stopped doing that because I'm like, how do I take more time and spend more of my time and my energy in my zone of genius? And I'll share in the next slide, how do you get to your zone of genius? And then the zone of competence is kind of stuff that you're pretty good at, but you really don't feel motivated to learn too much about it. And I would say for me, that's kind of setting appointments, doing even my marketing docs. Like I love marketing, but I don't really love to learn a whole lot more. So I work with other people to help me with that. Then the zone of excellence, and this is where you're doing something because you're really skilled at it and you're appreciated for, right? And so for me, for the longest time, this was corporate marketing research, and it just was great. There was no reason to leave that work, by any rational means. And then there's this zone of genius. And so this is that state in which, and let me just kind of share, and sorry, one more thing that I want to say here is that the way you begin to understand, and a question that I ask people is like, hey, as you look at your day to day, and when you really want to do this, you start doing an inventory of exactly what you do every day to really understand how do you want to invest your time and energy. But a simple question is, hey, what about yesterday? What about this week? As you think about going forward, you look at your calendar, what is energizing you just naturally? You can answer that. Like what's above the line, what's below the line? What is taking away from your energy and what is energizing you? What is bringing you that sense of aliveness? And that's maybe the first place to start. Like if this is something that you're really reevaluating and you're maybe even thinking a pivot, I encourage you to start with that question and do an inventory. Okay. Now, as we go a little deeper and we really want to hone into that zone, the genius zone, which is, in my experience, a subset of what you're excellent at already, but sometimes it has other things that maybe you haven't done. So for me, I realized from doing research and strategy, I realized that when I was leading interviews, stakeholder interviews and qualitative research, I just loved that. I was in the zone. But then I'm like, I don't really want to do that. So it took me years, I would say maybe 5 years of kind of real work of eventually discovering coaching. It was not something I even wanted to do. That's the other thing with your genius zone. Maybe it's just not necessarily something that you're like, that's maybe, I don't know. But so fear will come in. So that being said, as you get into your genius zone and you're like, I really want to get this, I really want to be more aligned. I want to have a sense of aliveness more and more. We will never be just fully working in our genius zone. We'll always have a little bit of the other things, right? There's no way for me to not set appointments. There's no way for me to not respond to emails or, do my taxes. But I do want to make sure that I am delegating, as much as possible, work that is in the other zones so that I can be more in my genius zone. Why? Because it makes me feel more alive. Why? Because I contribute more to the world. And that's another important factor to consider as you think about your vision. And as you maybe consider working more out of your genius zone, and as you create your goals for this year, I want you to think about how do you contribute? Because I know making an impact and a positive impact is motivating to us, to all of us. And so, how might others, your community, the world, your family? For me, honestly, my inspiration was my kids. I just really wanted to be a good example for them. And that's a lot because the way I live and breathe and behave and communicate and work, I wanted all of it to be an inspiration for my kids. So for me, they are my audience, if you will. So connect as you think about your vision this year with other people who are benefiting. Whether we are aware or not, or intentional or not, we are creating ripples, right? And so how can we make it intentional? And how can we be conscious of the effect of how we show up our vision, our goals on those around us, because you do have an impact on a lot of people. Okay, your clients, your colleagues, your family, your community, your neighbors. I have a neighbor right here.
It's
um,
perfect to stand back.
I looked at you, I'm like, yeah, even neighbors. It's true. It's true. Um, so, so that is the extra awareness, right? So as we think about going from just me, which is where ego comes in, fear comes in, we want to go from me to we. And we includes me as well. And that's really important as we think about this vision. Okay. All right. So I know some of you have seen this. And by the way, if you haven't done this work and you want some more help, I also have a worksheet for that. So I have a worksheet that will guide you through um, identifying all the zones and then identifying these four aspects, which I created based on a bunch of different frameworks I've seen out there. And again, the idea here is you want to do some work that you are truly connected and passionate about. But we don't want just that. I mean, for me, when I was doing this work, I was like, I love to knit. Okay, but I don't want that as my business. The second thing is flow. What gets you in the zone without judgment? You know, for me, a lot of that was data analytics as much as it was talking to people. So it was just noticing here, observing what gets you really inspired and curious to learn more about. This for me was major in helping me uncover coaching eventually, because I noticed I was just doing some research on my own Google searches for like weeks. Like, what am I researching? What am I genuinely curious about? So that's another pillar. And then the last one is the values and your purpose. You know, so the values, that exercise that we quickly touched on, is aimed to help you with this. Okay, because I like to think of purpose as really an expression of our values. Okay. So I'm going to leave this slide here for just another minute, and I'm going to be quiet as I let you add on your document, spreadsheet, piece of paper, journal. What is the zone of genius that you want to tap into as you create your vision this year? And if you want to, I encourage you when you're done to share it in chat, naming it, calling it. Don't overthink it. Just see what is that intersection for you at this moment. Awesome, Miranda. Policy work. Fresh curriculum, Liz. Those lucky kids. I'm going to share mine. Raise your hand if this is difficult. If nothing comes up. All right, Jen, let's hear it. So what is difficult about this?
I'm finding it hard to pick a lane,
Mhm. Yep.
like which area to focus on.
Okay, so
And
just
a
pick
lot of
one.
what I do like sucks my energy right now. So even like identifying where it is that doesn't is
Yeah,
what's going on in my head.
right, right. So overthinking is something that we all are doing here, right? Because how can you not? Because I'm saying pick one, you know, and so that's where we get kind of a little bit triggered. So if this is just a fun exercise where you and I do over coffee and it's not that important, and you make it light, and you just pick one, just whatever's top of mind, what would that be? Jen, is there one that comes up?
Probably leading a team through like a creative project end to end that doesn't last
And I've seen you
multiple
that
years.
that is your genius,
Yeah.
truly. Okay. All right. And then does that connect with something that is a core value of yours in some way?
Connects with connection.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, perfect. So that's a building block. All right. Anyone else who has an impossible time picking something? And just unmute yourself. Okay. All
I
right.
feel like being in the job hunt makes me have to think very differently about this. And I feel like I have to, instead of narrowing down, I have to keep options wide open. So kind of like the
Right.
opposite direction.
Right. Right. So Haley, as you think about no outcome, so we're not thinking about what will come out, but just more about what feels true to you right now, at this moment, knowing that it might change. What would you say? Like, what's again, keep it light, no pressure. What is coming up? Like one area, because your genius zone is complex, but like what's one thing?
I like work that helps people. And I think I'm having to think differently about, I guess, like how important that is for a next step and just like what types of jobs and companies are available.
Mm-hmm. And as you think about helping people in the context of work that you're really curious about, and you have strengths in, and I'm stacking questions there. What would that be potentially? Just using your imagination.
I like working with user experience. Um, so like working to improve user experience both on like the product side and in the actual like interactions with a company. I
Mhm.
was working on a marketplace platform before this.
Mhm. Okay. All right. And then what if you add an element of passion, something about that you love? How does that expand or narrows down your vision or your genius zone? Sorry, we're not at vision yet.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time putting that one into words.
Mhm. I'll do one more question, one last question, keeping you on the spot, Haley, just one more. Um, if you were to share with someone, with a close friend, someone who knows you really well, someone who says, "Hey, what do you love about that work?" What would you say?
Um, I would say the like empathy and communication that goes into it. I think that it's like a place within a tech company that I can contribute a lot. Um,
Mhm.
and I had a background in education, so it's kind of like a nice way to bring those skills into a different
Look at that.
context.
Look at that. Okay, so there is that kind of unique, and this is the other thing about the genius zone, is that it is unique to us because for all of us we're kind of coming from different places and there's this intersection of a bunch of different things, experiences that only you have, skills combined with that experience makes you more unique, right? Like we each have a unique thumbprint. We are truly unique, and it's really important to connect to that uniqueness. This is something that I'm here to tap into, own, and contribute. Because that is that perfect sweet spot where everyone benefits. It's the we who benefit. We benefit from you, Haley, and from you, Jen, and from you, Elizabeth, and everyone else here doing stepping into our genius zone more and owning it. Everyone benefits, including yourself, right? Because we know there's a lot of data to back this up, that we are truly creative, strategic, and just have more courage to share our ideas when we are operating from the genius zone. Okay. All right. So moving then to the first prompts. Now that we've established this foundation of connecting to our heart, right? Our core values, things that really matter to us at this moment. And then we've connected to this concept of moving past the space of excellence, things that we already know. Now, so this is where the stretching happens, stretching into our genius zone in a way that's authentic and true to us. So the first prompt, so I'll have 3 prompts for you. So the first prompt is staying connected to your heart here. This is just a fun, creative space, if always possible. What would you like to create space for this year? So let's take a minute or 30 seconds. And whenever you're ready, type it into chat if you'd like, no pressure. More time to quiet down. I love that, Christina. And creating that space is really where that rest space, I mean, that's so bold in our culture that says go, go, go. Vacation time, not working, absolutely. Time for ourselves, exercising and strengthening myself, work related, more time with my passion project. That's awesome, Lori. I love that. Perfect. Good for you for naming this. Okay, perfect. Let's move to our second prompt here. What would you do if you knew you were supported? Solidly trust myself. I love that, Elaine. And so this question really is about having that sense that you are supported, that this is possible, right? And it's incredible what happens truly when we begin to name our highest vision and how people line up. And when we ask for it, when we communicate it, it is incredible. Hi, Erin. It is incredible what happens. So just for Erin, hi, Erin. Here's the visioning prompt number 1 for you. What would you like to create space for this year? And the second one that we're all writing down is, what would you do if you knew you were supported? And I will share the slides if anyone's interested afterwards. If you want to work more on this, I will also create a worksheet, as I usually like to do for those many people who wanted to come today but couldn't make it live. So not to worry about the questions themselves. Okay. What would you do if you knew you were supported? Okay, and then the third prompt is, as you think about this vision, and maybe you can see almost the end of the year, how are you managing your time and energy to have a healthy balance in your personal and professional life? A healthy balance. Because the first thing that I hear from everyone is, yes, I have a vision. I want to do awesome things, but I don't have the time. Travel more, bring the kids along for their own growth. Beautiful, Elaine. And I love Maura. I would get started right now. I wouldn't wait to feel like I'm prepared, because you never will feel that way. And I know we worked on perfectionism. We all have it. You know, we want a plan. Our fear and our ego just wants a clear plan. And I can't tell you how many years, maybe 5 years, I was stuck in that place of, I just need a plan. I'm not gonna make any changes until I have a plan. I need a plan. Any normal, rational person has a plan. Yeah, no plan comes. Maybe it does for some people. I know for many people it does not, and that is the definition of being stuck. Lori, I love to hear that you've gotten so much better about balance. I believe it. That's awesome. Um,
Part of that is just having people who report to me that I need to make sure that I lead by example.
yeah. Isn't that so cool? Because I know for you, being in service, I think, is one of your core values just from knowing you. Um, that is awesome. And you're setting a good example for everyone. All right. Okay. All right. How is this feeling? So we've gone through your core values. We've gone through thinking about your zone of genius. And Aaron, you missed this, but I can send you the worksheet, because I really think you'll be awesome for you and the world if you were able to do more of that. And we now looked at these 3 questions, right? So what would you do? What would you do? What would you like to create space for this year? And what would you do if you knew you were supported? And then how are you also bringing a sense of balance? Because we tend to just be so ambitious, and let's be ambitious. Let's be as ambitious as it gets, but let's include our health in that. Okay. So now we will move on into the final kind of bringing this into the heart. So I'm going to guide us in a 5-minute meditation. This is a visioning exercise that I find extremely powerful. This will be the only visioning exercise that we do today. So I encourage you to really take up this time. So let's I want to invite you to put your pens down, or maybe the computer. Well, actually leave the computer on. So let's find a quiet energy, kind of sit comfortably in your chair, and let's take a couple of deep breaths together. Okay, so maybe I'm closing my eyes and I'm kind of noticing a little sort of tension on my shoulders. So if you feel that, just relax into that. We want to be as relaxed as possible for this exercise. Let's take a deep breath together as a group, and an exhale. And let's do this 2 more times to just arrive in this moment. And the longer the inhale and the longer the exhale, the more your nervous system will know that you are safe. 1 more. Okay. And so as you inhale through your nose, continue to inhale, allow your abdomen to expand. And now just breathe normally. And just with each breath, release any tension that you feel in your body. And just relax Just fully relax in your chair, relax in your body while keeping your back straight, your neck straight. Okay. And just focus on the rhythm of your breath and feel as your belly expands and as it contracts. And take 2 more breaths this way. And just being relaxed and present. Any thoughts that come in, just let them go. Anytime you notice a thought and you come back from it, that's what we call meditation. And as you are fully relaxed in this moment, with the next breath, see if you can visualize yourself in a serene, natural setting. Whatever that is for you. And just feel the connection between your body and the earth beneath you. And just breathe in that space. And now imagine it's a year from now. And picture yourself in this state of contentment and fulfillment. And see if you can envision any details of your surroundings. What do you do in this space of fulfillment? What does your work look like? What does your health look like? What are your relationships like? And see if you can connect to the emotions that you're experiencing. And just allow any emotion just to be. And in a state of complete abundance and possibility, without any fear or any limitations. What have you created in the past year? See if you can see an event from the past year that really contributed to making this year really fulfilling. And really powerful. Maybe see if you can picture another event. And sense gratitude in your heart for these experiences that you've had. Experiences that mean fulfillment or success to you in all aspects of your life, your work, your relationships, your health. And feel how these accomplishments have a positive impact on those around you. And we'll take 30 more seconds before we come back and just sit in this space of possibility. And see if you can maybe connect to a lesson learned from the growth that you've experienced in this year. And And 3 more breaths before we come back. Maybe slowly bring your awareness back to this present moment and wiggle your toes. Maybe stretch your neck. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So take your notebook and see what is the vision that came to you. Maybe add one more thing to the notes you already have. Just 1 or 2 more things that came up to you. Or maybe it came the same thing in a more clear way. And so again, see if you can answer maybe in 1 or 2 sentences, or maybe you already have them. What is it that that your heart wants you to create this year? Truly, if all was possible. And just be really, see if you can be clear about that. Now, what happens is as we write these things, I know I get sweaty hands literally when I think about the things that I want to create this year. And I know that I am creating from the heart and I'm really ambitious because I'm getting sweaty hands. As Lori said, excited and nervous. That's how I know I'm pushing myself. And so what is to be expected is resistance. And so I love this quote from Stephen Pressfield: resistance strength is equal to the power of the dream. And I heard an interview recently with Elizabeth Gilbert, who's one of my inspirations. And she talked about writing this book that is really taking her out of her comfort zone. And she really doesn't need to write it. And she has all that she needs. She really doesn't need it. The thing is that she is feeling this both excitement to share and this resistance. And that's how we know we're aiming high, So expect resistance. And so what we're doing here is both being aware of that fear and welcoming it, because it is natural when we are aiming high and we want to work from in a way that is truly grounded in our core values and our zone of genius and the unique contribution that only you are here to create with your unique background, experience, skills, talents, conditioning, cultural, you name it, everything that makes you, you are the one to bring forward your vision, nobody else. And so experiencing resistance is what you should expect. Okay. And so before we get into goals, so this was the biggest chunk of our workshop today, is really creating that vision, but I also want to help you create the goals and even an affirmation. Raise your hand if you need a few more seconds to write down your vision, or if you are okay. Do you need more time? Do you need help? Raise your hand if you do. Going through, and unmute yourself if I don't see your hand raised. Okay. Miranda, I see you thinking. Are you good? All right. We're just getting started, you guys. We're anchoring in. It does not have to be perfect. Don't give too much energy to your inner perfectionist. Okay. It is just there to help you. It has good intentions, but it also can keep you stuck. So we're going to say thank you very much. I know you want this to be perfect and buttoned up. It does not have to be. The purpose of today is to just plant the seeds. That is all. All right. So with that, we're going to move to creating smart goals. Okay. So look at your vision. And my vision in a nutshell is really to empower mission-driven, high-achieving, highly conscious leaders to create a positive impact in their career and well-being. And so as I'm looking at that, and I really want to step into that even more this year, I wanted to create SMART goals. Again, I'm avoiding to do it, but it's something that I know that if I really want to own my vision, I have to be really specific. And so I know probably most of you know the framework of SMART goals. But it's one thing for us to know something rationally, and it's another thing to embody it and do it. So this is the framework. So we want to make the goals. Now, for your vision, you might have and should have multiple goals. So for me, one goal is, to really ensure that my clients are satisfied and create the impact that they want to make. A second goal for me is leading workshops and trainings and speak at a couple of conferences this year and keep speaking and expanding my reach. And another goal I have is to have a harmonious work-life balance, so I can feel aligned and I don't overwork. So those are really kind of general goals. And so as an example, if I say I want my clients to make the impact that they want to make and be satisfied, a specific, measurable, goal would be to ensure that my clients have a satisfaction of an 8 or above, on a scale of 1 to 10. And make sure that one way that I measure it also is that I check in with them. And so I want to encourage you to create maybe at least a goal here. Maybe come up with 3 if you can, maybe after the workshop, if you don't have enough time now, because you do want to be mindful. But again, we don't want to overthink this, right? There's no right or wrong. This is your goal that comes in right now, today, and we want to honor that, your intuition right now. So what would be an example of a goal that is very specific, right? So for me is my clients are satisfied. Measurable. What's a criteria that you can quantify? We want to make sure this is achievable. A lot of people have, especially when it comes to like fitness and wanting to work out a lot or meditate or lose weight or whatever. We want to make sure this is something attainable, because this is where otherwise our fear will stop us. It'll be like, yeah, that sounds good, but you're never going to do it. So we want to make this to be a stretch, but also realistically attainable in a healthy way. Okay. It has to be relevant and aligned to your vision, most importantly. We're breaking down our vision essentially into goals, so they have to be connected. These are the pillars that are supporting that beautiful vision that you have. And then we want this to be a realistic time frame. Okay, so make sure you add a time frame for this, and in coaching sessions with some of you, what I will guide us to do, and you can do this on your own, is break down this 12-month vision into 6 months, like what needs to happen 6 months from now for you to ensure that you're on track. So that's what I mean when I say make sure you have a timeline, that your goal is time bound. So break it down from 12 months to 6 months. What needs to happen 6 months from now for that vision for you to be on track? 3 months from now. And maybe that is getting a little bit more clear as you think about 3 months from now. And I've seen, working with people over the years, some people have an easier time coming up with, this is the change I want to make in the next 3 months. And then they kind of build up to the 12-month vision and even 3 to 5 year vision, which I encourage you to think about as well. Or you can kind of do a top down. So kind of think from this vision, this beautiful, heartfelt vision that you've created, take that into 6 months, 3 months, and really the next month, the next few weeks. Okay. I don't think you'll have time to do that right now, but at least what I want you to walk away with from this exercise is to have at least one goal that supports your vision. Aim for 3 or more if you need to. And for that one goal, make sure it is structured in a way that is very specific. Like I used to say, oh, I want to improve my marketing. And now I am very specific about what that means and by how much and what are the resources that I need. And so now I work with a couple of consultants on that because I know I used to do it myself and I just can't do it. If I really want to achieve this ambitious goal. For a while, I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to invest. So make sure that you have that you kind of are connecting to making this as specific as possible. Okay. All right. What is one goal that you want to maybe just share? Doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this is what we're aiming for. Trust yourself, trust the process. Share in chat one goal that you have off the cuff. Name it. This is how we own it. This is how we embody it. We share it with other people, and this is a safe space. Yes, Suzanne, 3 clients by March 1st. Jen, 3 new client relationships. Awesome. Write an article. Yay, Miranda. Make sure you share that. Financial planning, Elaine. Great. Great. And remember those fears, we're not going to get rid of them, but we're going to work with them. We're going to make space for them. New routine, Erin. Yay. Christina, oh my gosh, I'm so curious. I'm dying to know, what is the prototype? I know we're going to connect soon. Physical exercise, absolutely. Okay, beautiful. Yay, thank you for sharing. Being at a great company. Yay, Julie. Fantastic. Good. Okay. All right. So again, remember the SMART approach. The more specific, the better. And when I say the better, it is just more achievable, period, because we know what it is. We just get overwhelmed by a vision, or we get skeptical because we don't have a plan. And the idea here is to create the support. We will not achieve the vision by the vision itself, right? We need a bunch of things in place. One of them, the most important ones, is to really be specific about what is that and by when, right? And there's more to this, because the other aspect to this is also thinking about what are the resources that you need, right? So as many of you I've worked with, we work with the circles of control, like some things you control, but then you have to influence. And that is where we learn to communicate and influence and take the resources that we need. Okay. So I have some goals here, and I guess this is just more of a visual for you to kind of, remember to create maybe 3 goals. And these are my goals that I would just wanted to share to make them as specific as possible. All right. And see if you can, one of those goals, to make it something that has to do with harmony and balance. Okay. All right. How is everyone feeling? How are you feeling? Give me a thumbs up if this feels energizing, if you feel hopeful.
Great.
Awesome.
That was very helpful.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Here's the thing. Another, what I found is that affirmations are yet another tool that bring it into the day-to-day, and so literally I started writing them first on stickies, then I put them on mirrors. I have a mirror right here in my office. I have one in the bathroom, and I'm writing on it. Sometimes it's an affirmation that helps me stay grounded. I might forget my vision, my goals, hopefully there's more, you're creating these, you're sticking with them. Maybe you have an accountability group. Maybe you have lean on your support group for your goals. The affirmation is that creates the intention for the day. It's a reminder, right? It's a ritual. And I've seen this definition of a ritual is reminding ourselves to remember, because we are designed to forget, right? We are forgetting these things. So it is to be expected that we will forget our vision. We are planting the seeds today. We want to water it every day, right? So we can really blossom this year. So I found that having an affirmation kind of boils down sort of the things that you want to remember. Maybe it boils down the essence of your vision and your goals, right? What is one thing that will help you stay, a reminder that really connects with your heart, that helps you stay on the path. So we're going to skip the visioning. And I am encouraging you to think about your own affirmation. I just listed here a few that I like. And I want you to take 30 seconds here, a minute, if you will, and look at these, or don't look at these, and just create your own positive affirmation that really is meant to reinforce your belief, your hope in your abilities to achieve your vision. And the affirmation will support you with consistency, right? We want to be consistent and take kind of small steps towards our vision to achieve our goals every day. And, this affirmation is just there to support you to stay on the path. And I'll share mine in chat. And share in chat your affirmation. Something that feels true, that feels supportive. Something simple that you can remember. Something that might soothe your fear. Oh, bye, Laura. I hope the doctor appointment is just a checkup. I hope it's nothing wrong there. That baby's almost ready to come, Laura. Good to see you. Beautiful, Lori. You can weather storms, Aaron. If anyone can do it, I've never seen anyone weather the storms like you do. Erin is leading a nonprofit that got a Nobel Prize, and she works toward world peace, and she's amazing. Elizabeth, you're getting stronger every day. Yes. Julie, listen to the universe. Absolutely. That's what this is about. Trust a higher wisdom. Yes, Christina. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love seeing, trusting the universe, trusting our higher selves. We're not alone, and we are supported, and we are manifesting all the time what's in our heart and what we are willing to believe. Okay, beautiful. Ooh, I love this. Okay. And then we are going to boil this down even more if you are feeling called to do it. And why not create a word of the year? Maybe create multiple ones. Again, we are setting ourselves up to remember, to stay grounded. Okay. So what is the word of the year? It will boil down to your aspiration, your affirmation. Maybe there's a word that really captures that essence. Trust your intuition. Whatever comes up. And then I would love for you to share that. And for me, I have 2 words. Beautiful. Determination, serenity. deserving. Yes, our self-worth is front and center, and we absolutely deserve it. Don't need permission. Yes, Jen, you got this. Oh, it's so, you do, you got this. Worthy desire, Suzanne. Christina, believe. Have you seen Ted Lasso by any chance? Love it. Trust and smile. Yes, trust. Community. Mora, beautiful. I'm curious. What does that mean for you, Mora? Beautiful. Okay. Word of the year. And let's do these every year, shall we? This is so much fun. All right. So if you coach me with me, you know that this is the last question we always ask in every coaching session. Now that we've created this inspiration for ourselves, this vision, grounded in our core values, in our zone of genius, and we have an affirmation, what is one action step that you are committing to? Something that you can do in the next week. What is one action step that will support one of your goals? This is something that you can do. Doesn't depend on anyone else. Write more than one if you feel inspired. But have at least one action step that you feel ready to commit to doing. Right? We're working on energy and strategy all the time. So we worked on our energy. Now we want to translate that into actionable steps. Okay? Share in chat, please, if you feel comfortable doing so. Reach out to mental health private practice. Yes. Daily closed eye vision. I love that, Elaine. Schedule exercise. Yes. You've been pretty good about that, Erin. One step you are committing to. Believe and manifest the action by targeting companies and connecting with people there. That's more than one. Yes, schedule 2 hours a day to research potential ideas. Beautiful. That's it. Schedule 2 hours a day. I love that. Because that's something you know you can do. It doesn't have a specific outcome. Beautiful. Okay. All right. Any other actions? Anyone else wants to share? Okay. Research for you, Miranda. Okay. Fantastic. 30 minutes a day creating a curriculum. I love it. I found that works so well to just, I've been working on my book this year. I'm back to working on that book I started 10 years ago. And I just love this idea that you guys are all sharing. I'm doing the same thing and just kind of setting a time. And I've been kind of trying to go to bed earlier and create some time in the morning to just write for an hour on my book. And it's just been so awesome. All right. So this is something to remember, right? It takes courage to trust your path, right? Be kind to yourself, be compassionate on your journey. And I do want to invite you, as I always do, if you want to do this work together as a group, which is one of my favorite ways to support people. I just wanted to let you know about a workshop that some of you here have been in the last year or so, and this is an expression of a goal that I had to offer the IOLA program at least once a year. Last year I offered it 3 times, and this year I will offer it at least once in this kind of more public space with people from different organizations, etc. Because I just find that it's just so much fun to kind of have a group that's not all in one company, which is typically how I offered this program. And the theme for Ayola this year is Own Your Highest Vision. It's Own It. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of, in the curriculum, there's going to be more emphasis in how do we take action and how do we overcome resistance. And specifically, there's a whole new training that I've been undertaking in the last year on positive intelligence, on overcoming our saboteurs. I've recommended this book to many of you, so I'm just going to share it in case you want to do this alone. And this is the book. We've been using this book with many of you in coaching sessions, and I'm going to teach the framework. I'm going to teach the framework that I'm learning directly from Shirzad Shamin, who is a lecturer at Stanford, and he created this amazing, did this research, 500,000 people. It's just an incredible sample, and just arrived to 9 saboteurs. I'm going to be teaching how do we work with these specific saboteurs. Like the imposter syndrome, like perfectionism, like the people pleasing, etc. Those are mine. And so just wanted to let you know in case you are interested to kind of work with a group of other people in bringing your vision to life. And so if you are interested, reach out and I will share more about this. And we have 10 more minutes together, and I just want to answer any questions that you have as you think about, I have an awesome vision. I know that my fear will kick in. What do I do? Or I don't have a clear vision. Here's how far I've come, or anything else. Is there anything that you want support with, that you want to share? Maybe you just want to share something. Maybe you don't need help. You just want to share because you're excited to share your vision with other people. Just open space for us to connect.
Ramona, I actually have a question for you. I was curious, earlier you mentioned it took you a while to figure out coaching was your genius zone, and you tried to make plans, but no plans came. So I was curious if you could share a few sentences on like what was your path? Like what else did you try before ending up in coaching?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Christina. And that is in the book that I've been working on, and it's trying to really uncover for myself, like what were those exact steps. And I would say that as I think about kind of major sort of aha moments, and by the way, I've included the process here. So my go-to process was, well, one that I did include is stepping away, taking space, because I found that it took me about 5 years since I said, I'm going to do something different. Maybe I'll open my business, till the time I actually quit. It was a 5-year process where I kept trying to figure out what is this thing. And I would be like looking at things that work for other people, that make money for other people. And I'll be like, oh, that sounds really good. I could probably make money with that. Or I have these strengths. I know I'm like basically working either from my excellence zone or even lower, even from the competence zone. Be like, I think I can do this. I'm not super curious about this, but I could do it. Whereas the excellence zone is something that we're actually curious about learning. And the genius zone was really hard for me because I think, like for all of us, we have money. Uh, money is the first thing. We want to support our families. We have bills and things like that. So for me, the big block was, and rather the thing that I was trying to figure out is how could I replace this income? And I had a big income and a big mortgage. How do I replace that income when I am doing when I'm a business owner? And one of my core values that I identified was freedom, which I didn't really know it mattered to me, but it did matter at that point in my life. It didn't matter before. So the first step for me was to just kind of give up. I mean, I think what I say to many people is that when the pain is super high, when you just can't do it anymore, is kind of how you know that you've arrived. I mean, I wish we had a better way to do it, but as human beings with bills, and unless we have kind of a big stash of money, or we want to kill our retirement plan, it just seems like it's impossible to do. So I didn't do it for so many years because I couldn't figure it out, and it didn't make rational sense because I was making money and I was rewarded and I was speaking at conferences and I was recognized and people loved me and I loved them. So, but the pain of feeling misaligned was really the thing. And that's kind of how I just couldn't go any further. And I went to quit because there was just no other way. So I went to Romania. I always recommend, if you can take some time off, any way that you can, retreats for a weekend. I'm going on a retreat next weekend again, as I'm thinking about embodying my own vision for this year. Highly recommend taking time off, because we need to step away. It's like, if nothing changes, nothing changes. We have to change something to kind of connect to a deeper part of us. And that's the other thing, is not a rational exercise. I really emphasize the heart, the emotions, the energy. Those are your guides. And then the next thing for me was, once I was away, I did this research on myself. I literally was analyzing my Google searches, and I gave myself the permission to do nothing, but it was, do anything you want. Search anything you're curious about. So I did this for 2 weeks, where my intention was literally just search for anything you find yourself curious about, anything. And then I did a little inventory, because I like this analytical way. You don't have to do it this way, but that's how I did it. And I just kind of looked for themes, because I started with the assumption and the hypothesis that there is something for me. I think that is maybe one of the most powerful things to get you going, aside from the pain, to believe that there is something else for you. If you are feeling that pain, there is something. And so really believing that there is something, then it takes out the sort of the fear that this is all for nothing. And so if you work with the assumption, hypothesis that there is something, I just have to figure it out, it becomes a little bit easier. And so then from there, it was like analyzing the themes. It gave me an inkling that I'm interested in happiness and personal development, but still there was nothing. And then a year later, I just again followed, and I was like, I'm going to allow myself to sign up for workshops. And so I started signing up for workshops at Spirit Rock, and writing workshops. There's one with Elizabeth Gilbert, and etc. So slowly I started to hone it in. And then all of that, within 3 months of coming back from Romania, from that year away, is when I came across this wellness institute in Massachusetts. And they were talking about coaching, and I worked with a coach, but I never considered coaching. So I was just wanted to trust. And still, I didn't want to be a coach, but I'm like, I'm going to sign up for the coaching program just so that I can learn maybe more about myself and what I need. And while I was in the program and we had to coach, is when I kind of kicking and screaming. I was like, oh, really? I'm going to be a coach? Okay, I'm going to be a coach.
Wow.
There's the short version. Long
That's
version.
amazing. I feel like I knew bits and pieces of that, but that is really amazing. It's so inspiring to hear the whole story.
Again, the pain has to be super high. I hate to say it, because otherwise we go back to our comfort zone. We go to our excellent zone. You make money, people recognize you, you get, there's safety. Why would you? And I'm not telling anyone to do what I did. I am just sharing, because I think the essence of it for me is that it's really hard, and it's trusting the process. And you have to be literally on your knees and crying and be heartbroken and be like, I can no longer, I'd rather just lose everything, which is kind of where I was. I was like, I'd rather throw everything out the window. I just can't. It'll kill me. I'll lose my mind, and I'm not going to be a good mom to these kids. That's honestly where I was. So if you feel that pain, please don't feel it as much as I did. But it seems that our heart breaks open and something comes up, that is true and courageous and honest. And I find that we get the support once we find it. And I know you will too, Christina. You will. All right. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your beautiful energy. Thank you for answering the call. You might get more of these from me this year. This is maybe my favorite one. So thank you for being here. Much gratitude to you for trusting yourself and for connecting here, because we need this. We need to connect. Thank you all. Reach out if you need support. Reach out if you want any of the worksheets I mentioned. Reach out if you want to learn more about Iola this year. And have an awesome weekend. Thank you. Maybe unmute and say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
Romana.
Bye.
Thank you so much. That was
Bye.
great.
Welcome to see you. Bye.